Good morning and welcome to GCSC Corporation Catchup. My name is Jonathan Hudson, and joining me today I have two guests, which is really awesome. I have Mr. Cary and Dr. Olin. So how are you guys? Thank you for coming. Nice to have you both all at once.
I'm doing great. I don't know about you.
It's good to be here, yeah.
Awesome. So we've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be discussing a series of topics. First, talking about our Greenfield Central Police Department. We have some updates about that partnership, I believe.
You know, for anyone who's watched from the outside, you would see that over the last 4 or 5 years, we've really increased the presence of our school resource officers. And we've been very grateful for that partnership we've had with both the Greenfield Police Department and the Hancock County Sheriff's Department. We've utilized a lot of their off-duty policemen to cover those positions. But over the last couple of years, we've gone away from having a lot of part-time folk to actually having employees who are with us on a daily basis. We think there's a lot of merit in having the same person there every day for our kids to see, to build relationships with, for our staff to also become accustomed to, and our parents. So we've built that force up over the last few years, and we've had to be pretty creative about doing that. When we started this school year, we actually had 5 full-time staff members with us, and unfortunately, we lost one of them early in the fall, and we just have not been able to replace that person with a full-time staff member, despite our efforts to make that happen. So as we've continued our conversations with both the Greenfield Police Department and the Hancock County Sheriff's Department, they both encouraged us to consider starting our own police department, which sounds like a really daunting task, and I will tell you, there is a lot to it. I'll let Mr. Cary add to that here shortly, but there is a lot to it. But a lot of school corporations have gone before us to do this. A lot of places within central Indiana that we've been able to learn a lot from them. We've had this conversation on and off with our board over the last probably 6 months. We anticipated needing to do this at some point. It is just happening a little bit quicker than we thought it would. So if all goes as planned, we will have the Greenfield Central Police Department starting next school year. In the meantime, we have received permission to hire a chief of police, and we're taking applications for that right now. So giving you that long timeline there, hire a chief of police, then we would petition the state to start our own police department. Upon getting permission to do that, we would then start hiring those officers. And Mr. Cary's really taken the lead on this.
Yeah, and it's been a lot, as you can imagine, creating our own police department. But we're really lucky that we've worked with some of the local school districts around Indianapolis who've done some of this work, and they've been very helpful as far as making sure that we're crossing our I's and dotting our T's, or the other way around, sorry. But they've been very helpful, and so we've got that checklist, and it helps that we have a very supportive school board. They understand what we're doing and where we're going, and I've met with Greenfield Police Department and the Sheriff's Department in the last month, and they've been very supportive as well, just working through and making sure we're doing everything we're supposed to. But we feel like this is the natural evolution of our school safety as a district, and we're excited for where it's going to take us. So a lot of work now, but it'll be worth it in the future.
And as a principal, and you were a principal as well, but I'll ask Jason, can you talk about, just for those watching, the importance of having officers, having that relationship, and really how helpful they can be to establish that presence of safety in our buildings?
I think anybody who has worked in a school who has had an SRO will tell you that they're invaluable. Not just as a principal, but as a father, having kids in the district. I know Dr. Olin did as well. Mm-hmm. That extra peace of mind. I think about the high school having someone like Josh Mullins who is here developing relationships with students, working with the administrators to make sure things are safe, and working with the parents as well. Having that police lens on some school safety pieces that administrators just aren't going to have. And so they're really invaluable, and they do so much, and I think sometimes it's easy to take them for granted. But just having that consistent person who is there every day, the kids know who they are, the staff, the parents, it's just a trusted name and face that's there. So it's really been great, and we look to hopefully have that in every building moving forward, someone who is not on a rotation, someone who's there every day. So we think we're going to get there pretty soon. And
it is a natural extension of the school safety measures we've taken over the last couple decades. I mean, schools look a little different than they did when you were in school. I know that wasn't that long ago, but
it was. It was a long time ago.
I mean, it starts with the secured perimeters that we have. I mean, when we were in school, most of our doors are unlocked. We have one door that's unlocked now, and that feeds you through the office, which is locked. So we basically have a secured perimeter. You think about the surveillance cameras that we have in place that are all over the place. the school resource officer is really that next piece. It's that practical piece that is there when people drive by. Seeing a police car out front is a big deterrent, and I wish our world didn't require that, but the reality is, obviously we got a nice reminder, or a terrible reminder, of the needs we have in schools with what happened in Wisconsin just earlier this week. So again, I hope it reinforces to our community the importance we place on school safety. I mean, the students that we serve are our most valuable asset that we have in a community. As a parent, our most treasured possessions there. So we do what we can to keep it safe.
Yeah, especially as we continue to grow as a district.
Yeah.
So moving forward, talking about our Innovation Center, Amplify. I know every time you come in we talk about it, but I know there's been further developments. So can you get us sort of up to date on where we are with that?
Well, if you've driven past 300 North and 200 West, that crossroad just to the west of us, you will see that dirt has been moved. And that's an exciting piece because they are starting to prep that ground for that facility. And that facility is roughly 100,000 square feet, designed by Ratio. The good news is that the county council has passed everything they need to sell the bonds for that. And just for those who are hearing it for the first time, it's a little bit over a $40 million project to put that in. Now, half of that being the high school career center, the Hancock County Career Center, or HC3 as we like to call that.
Yep.
And then Ivy Tech having about 30,000 square feet for their programming. The hospital has about 5,000 feet for their radiology program. That sits on a 20-acre parcel, and the county actually has the option to buy an additional 20 acres that would be adjacent to that. So to see earth moving, to see the elected officials taking the steps they need to take in terms of securing the financing for that, I can tell you I'm really excited about that.
Well, and I was just in a meeting last week with some of the local educators who are working on some of that, and talking about the classes that are going to be offered and where that's going to go and what that fits in with, you know, the new graduation diploma and pathways and all that. So it's exciting, and I think it's going to be a big benefit for our kids. It's hard to believe it's going to be open in about a year and a half.
Fall of 2026.
So we're really excited, and a lot of work's being done, and I can't wait for people to see it. It's kind of like the new auditorium. I just can't wait for people to see it.
It's not going to be as nice as our
No, it's not. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's going to be amazing. And I think, and like we said, not just the high school piece, but also that community piece with Ivy Tech and with the hospital. I think it's a great use of that space.
Yeah. Is there anything you can tell us about the curriculum? Like, what programs can we expect our kids to be able to benefit from, and those in the county as well?
You know, there are many of the programs that are currently being offered at Walker Career Center. We'll just bring that a lot closer to us. But we actually asked our students about programs that they were interested in. We asked the employers, large employers in our community, about coursework they want to see offered there. And I can tell you there are things, of course, welding will be there. There'll be a CNA program that will be there. We're going to have
our HVAC will move out there.
Yeah.
We're going to have some auto things out there that could be collision, engine repair. Boy, there's a list of 10 or 12 classes, and I'm going blank on a few of
No,
those.
I'm with you. I think the key is that they're high demand, high wage jobs. You know,
Yes.
things that the kids want to take, but also they're going to have a nice living if they go through those
wage.
programs. But also something that the community needs. I think that was the big thing as we talked about what kind of programs we wanted to offer. So, you know, we'll get that information out to the kids as we keep going. We keep sending surveys trying to figure out, you know, what's best. But we're excited for the offerings they're going to have.
Okay, so moving forward, we're going to be discussing community engagement. Can you talk about the importance of that and efforts that we're making to really make sure our community is more involved with our district in particular?
Well, you mentioned community engagement, and it's one of the 4 large goals that we've given our principals and staff throughout the year. We talk about, you know, high impact teaching strategies. We talk about 21st century grading practices, 1 year's growth in 1 year's time. Well, that new one that we added this year was to increase community engagement. I can tell you that we've done many things from a corporation level to do that. Some of that would have been the Remedy Live programming that we had over the last 2 weeks. We had an opportunity for our community members to come into that last week. That'd be a great example of that. I can tell you at our board meeting we had in December, Bronson Curtis and the Greenfield Intermediate School staff, they were there. Bronson brought some parents with him about some of the things they're doing with their PAWS program, which is a parent advocacy group that they have. And I think we also have had a J.B. Stevens Literacy Night last week where we were readers there for that. Eden Elementary School had a musical program where they brought families in. So I can tell you, really, from our youngest learners in our elementary schools to our high school, we've really tried to be intentional about getting our community into our buildings to share in that partnership. And it's part of our mission statement that we want to partner with parents and community for the betterment of that student experience. So I think we've got examples going on really in all of our facilities where I think parents see that commitment.
And I think it's also part of my job as the assistant superintendent, some of that community outreach. So there are a couple programs we're working on behind the scenes that we hope to roll out in the spring or the summer.
You can give them a little bit of a teaser.
I guess I could. I don't want to get too far ahead of it. So we talked about there was a school district up north that we saw at the superintendent's conference that has kind of an ambassador program with their community, and where they bring in people. People will essentially apply to be a Greenfield Central ambassador, and meet maybe once a quarter or every other month with our leadership and kind of hear about all the great stuff going on at Greenfield Central. Talking about things like Amplify, or talking about the new auditorium, or some of the things we're doing with school safety. Just trying to educate them and also get feedback from the community on what they see as a need. And so really having that two-way street, that's something that we're definitely interested in, and we're moving forward with.
In April 8th.
Yes, and there you go. And we're also, we're going to have a first ever community brunch for some people in the community as well. So again, just trying to, I feel like schools are naturally very humble. We don't talk about all the great things that we're doing, and I think that can be to our detriment sometimes. So trying to make sure that we're honest about, all the offerings we have here, how small our class sizes are, the school safety things that we're doing, the different, career offerings. So I think we're trying to do a better job of getting that word out and be a little bit more specific and more intentional with some of that. So it's something I'm working on.
Always working on.
Yeah.
Speaking of working on, we know that you have been in a new position. So I want you just to talk about some of your highlights. Now you have like what would they say, a bird's eye view of everything.
Yeah.
Whereas when you were at the high school, it was just day to day.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the highlights as you've gotten to really know the other principals, work with them, spend more time in all of our buildings? Can you tell me what you've really enjoyed about that in your new position?
There's a lot. I told anybody that would listen when I got, when I was in my previous job, that it was the best job I've ever had. And it's funny, I met with Mr. Walbaum last week just talking about first semester and how things are going and ways I can support him. And he kind of told me, he said, you weren't wrong. This place is special. And so that's been it's been hard at times to kind of separate myself from that a little bit. But I will tell you, working with Dr. Olin and everybody at Central Office has been great, and they've been very welcoming, and definitely looking at things that from a different perspective. That's been nice, and just thinking about things that are bigger picture. That's been good for me. But also getting to work with all the different principals and learning that. I'll tell you, Mr. Marine has been great about teaching me those elementary things that I just never had to worry about before.
Yeah.
And really, I've tried to be a sponge with him, and hopefully I've taught him some secondary stuff as well. But really spending time with the principals to learn what are they doing, what challenges are they facing, and how can I help? What roadblocks can I remove from them, or what ways can we try to make it easier for them? So that's been really great, and they've been very welcoming, and they've been very patient with me, which is nice. But I've enjoyed that a lot. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So.
And I can tell you, it's been wonderful to have Mr. Cary. I mean, he brings a lot of experience to us. We knew that when we hired him to be our principal. The experiences he had at Blue River and Peru in particular, his ability to work with students, staff, parents has been very valuable to us at the district level, where we've really plugged him into the district a little bit more in terms of the larger community. So he's still having that impact within our schools, but getting to know some of the key players within the larger community, whether that's through Rotary or City Council or some of the other groups that he has opportunities to work with. I think it's been a good advantage for the school corporation to have him there. And of course, he's doing that on top of a lot of the graduate work that he's doing, and being a dad of two kids who are very active. So he stays very busy.
And I do. But I will tell you, I figured out kind of a cheat code a few months ago. if I don't have a meeting first thing in the morning, I try to start in a building. You know,
Yeah.
I may pop in at JB or Eden or Maxwell or wherever and just kind of see the kids as they're coming in. And I'll tell you, that's been really good for me to just charge my batteries. And you know, if I've got a day full of meetings or if I'm working on something hard, you know, at least I've had some contact with kids and with staff, and that's been really neat.
awesome.
So I've tried to do that as much as I can. So
We love to hear that.
yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's going to wrap up. Christmas plans. I know you guys normally go down to Florida. Is that still the case?
That is the plan.
Okay, for a week or
around
so?
for a week around New Year's.
And then you get together with your brother and all.
Yes.
Is that still the plan?
We do, yeah. So we get together with my wife's side of the family, and then we'll go to my brother's house for a few days. So that'll be nice to get away and unplug for a while. So
I'm going to Denver, and it's not going to snow. It's going to be like 50 degrees.
So will you ski anyway?
I don't know. I hope we get to go up to the mountains and have a day where we do that. It just depends.
what about biking? Are you gonna be biking?
I'll probably run. I can't get my bike
Okay,
out there.
okay.
I'll probably just do some running and just be sucking in the thin air and be out of breath.
Is that what happened to the Colts?
It is. That's what happens. We'll just blame it on the elevation.
You may want to have one of those, you know, like a life alert or something with you in that
Maybe
with
I have
the
one.
elevation. I
People
don't
there, they'll run past you, and I think I'm in good shape, but I'm not. When you go out there, you realize
No.
it pretty quick. So.
know.
Well, I want to thank you guys for watching. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Happy Holiday Season. We will see you in January. This has been GCSC Corporation Catch Up, and you guys have a wonderful break.